Hi my love, and welcome to this week's live. So today it might be a bit of a triggering one, so make sure you're in a really good space to explore any emotions that come up and ask any questions that you want to ask as well. Either drop those in the comments and I'll respond during the live or afterwards, or if you've got some more private questions then drop them through on Messenger and I'll get back to you there as well. So it's all about how sexual trauma manifests in the physical body, so more on a physical level. And we talked last week about different types of sexual trauma and really like broadening that definition. So check out that video if you're not sure if this is you, because honestly most women that I speak to have experienced this on some level on the scale somewhere. And even just having an awareness of, your sisters, your mothers, your friends, everyone that could have experienced something like this as well is really cool. So, first of all, the key area that this manifests in is in the yoni. So in your vagina, your reproductive system, your vulva as well. And without pointing out the obvious, it's obviously because of the localized trauma. So the first thing that happens is to experience some kind of pain or numbness. And we typically aren't super aware of this until it comes to sex, when maybe we're not experiencing that much pleasure because of the numbness or because of the pain as well, if you're experiencing a lot of pain during sex. So that can be typically a first sign, but unfortunately, in our society, it's kind of accepted often that women don't orgasm or experience some pain, and I've seen a lot of like funny memes. I don't think doctors really say this anymore, but 10 years ago or so, they just tell you to have a glass of wine and relax, when there's clearly something much more intricate going on here. So just bringing some awareness if there is a bit of pain and numbness there, and exploring with things like a cervical wand can be a really good way to tap into that. So what happens is the body has its own intelligence. So say there's like a bit of pain and numbness going on and you're not aware of it, or maybe not wanting to heal that right now, you're not in the right space. The body's like, she's not listening to this pain and numbness. Maybe she's not aware that it's happening, but she's definitely aware of that period that comes every month because she can't really ignore it. So let's make that really bad and really horrible. So maybe that will help her bring the mental awareness down to her yoni and heal what's going on here, because the yoni's getting a bit of a poor blood supply with this numbness. Some of the nerves are shut off a little bit. There's not as many nutrients flowing around. There's lots of tension being held in the vaginal walls, and the body's not very happy about that. So it's just doing anything it can to bring your awareness. Hence, amazing cramps and really extreme PMS as well, really emotional time around your period, all of these emotions coming up that might have been suppressed. But we'll get into the PMS side more so next week when I talk about how this manifests mentally and emotionally. So for now, all of those physical symptoms that you get, even things like fatigue as well, I know a lot of us experience that to a large extent on our periods. So, and I just want to highlight while I'm saying all of this that it's not necessarily the case that these physical symptoms are only caused by sexual trauma. It could be something else entirely, but it definitely could be a contributing factor as well. So if it's something that you think might be affecting you, it's really important to attack the period pain from all angles, especially healing the sexual trauma. So unfortunately what happens is, again, in our society, it's just kind of accepted that women have really horrendous periods. We get cramps, PMS. It's just one of those things. And actually, that's not the case. If the body is in pain in any way, shape, or form, then it's trying to tell you something. It's way of communicating to us that something needs to be healed. So again, we tend to ignore that as women, and the doctor again will tell you maybe not have a glass of wine with this one, but definitely will hand you a contraceptive pill or some kind of birth control, which effectively causes you to have like a fake period. It's not the same as our body's natural process. So that really is just slapping a plaster or a band-aid on the issue instead of dealing with it from the root cause. So some women find that birth control works for a little bit, maybe a year or two, and then the symptoms start to come back. Some find it doesn't work at all. And some find it works completely when they're on the pill, but then they come off it because they want to start getting pregnant, and the symptoms come back like 10 times worse. And this is kind of the next level that happens. So if we're ignoring the period pain, then things like menstrual disorders come up. So things like endometriosis, PMDD, adenomyosis, PCOS, fibroids. All of these things are really severe manifestations. And again, could be caused by other things like general inflammation in the body and hormonal imbalances, or just genetic inheritance as well. But sexual trauma is often a contributing factor. So, and another thing is like other gynecological problems, even, growths and things like that as well, or recurrent infections like thrush or bacterial vaginosis as well. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is anything that's going on down there could be a symptom that, or a sign perhaps that there's some trauma that needs to be healed. And again, it could be something else as well. So the other place in the body that this manifests is in the nervous system. So when we go through any trauma, it doesn't have to be sexual in nature, our fight or flight and freeze response gets activated. And this is so that the body is ready for attack. So, going way back in the day, we've been attacked by a tiger once, we got away, and we're not going to get attacked and let down again. So the body is primed for another attack, it's ready, and we get all of these symptoms that go along with that. So things like increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, all the blood gets drawn away from the skin. So if you get really hot, cold hands and feet, inability to focus and memory loss, because that's just like not really a priority right now, and it's more important just to observe your surroundings. And the problem with all of these things is that it actually causes more inflammation in the body, because inflammation is basically a response of the immune system. So it's the body's trying to find whatever's going on that it needs to attack, so we get more and more inflammation. And we also release a lot of cortisol, which is our stress hormone, and adrenaline as well. So we end up with adrenal fatigue. The cortisol blocks progesterone, so that messes up with our hormones completely. So all of these things then make all of those things that are coming up in the yoni, like the period pain and the PMS, PMDD, whatever it is, so much worse. So it's almost like a vicious circle going on, which is why it's so important to, yes, heal the sexual trauma, but also tackle things like inflammation and hormonal imbalance, which is what I work with my clients on holistically. All of these different areas, we bring it together. So yeah, on that note then, how to heal. So the menstrual healing yoga that I share, some of the posts on Movement Monday, I think I did a live ages ago, but the essence of it when it comes to the yoni is to release tension from the hips. So there's a lot of hip openers, a lot of moving the hips gently as well, just to kind of connect us in that way. We're bringing the awareness from the head through the heart down to the yoni as well, so helping the head to reprioritize what messages it's sending around the body, so it knows to send blood and nutrients down to the yoni. And a really, really big part of any yoga practice, really, not just menstrual healing yoga, is activating the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the opposite of fight or flight mode. So when we're in fight or flight, we're activating the sympathetic nervous system, whereas when we're in rest and digest mode, we're activating the parasympathetic nervous system. So any calming practice, so even going for a walk, Tai Chi, and anything that chills you out, even reading a book or something, is really great for activating the parasympathetic nervous system, calming inflammation, balancing the hormones. But particularly, I really like the menstrual healing yoga because I've created this specifically for these problems that we're experiencing as women, and bring just a really light-hearted feel to it, keep it nice and calm, relaxed. The really one of the key points is that it's not meant to be a workout. It's not meant to like strengthen the hips or make your yoni nice and strong. It's all about releasing tension from the yoni and constantly bringing awareness back to that throughout the entire practice. So that's one way that we can heal, through moving the body. Another, or some other things we can do is self-massage. So whether that's on the lower abdomen, just activating the ovaries, anything we do there to kind of move things around is going to bring the blood supply and help flush out any tension or toxins that have built up in that area, in order to bring our awareness down to heal the sexual trauma. And that's why next week is going to be really important as well, because yes, we need to heal this on a physical level, but we also need to heal on an emotional and a mental level as well. Otherwise it's just going to keep happening, no matter how much hip opening we do or how much self-massage we do. If we're constantly still kind of ignoring and sending messages down there that aren't very nice to ourselves, I suppose is the best way of putting it, then we're just going to keep experiencing these symptoms that aren't a lot of fun as a woman, and it's just something we don't have to accept at all. So anything you can do, castor oil packs as well are really great for bringing the blood down. Just don't do those while you're actually bleeding, because you'll bleed a lot. So 3 weeks on, 1 week off. Cervical wand massage as well, or working with a yoni egg too. That's a really beautiful Taoist practice. And we often bring a lot of the Taoist things into Tantra, because yes, they're different traditions, they come from different places, but they really complement each other well. So yoni eggs, I'm all about it. I really enjoy that practice too. And yeah, get creative. Anything that feels good, even masturbating, sex with a partner, as long as that's done really consciously and with awareness of any trauma that might come up. I'd recommend getting really comfortable with masturbating and releasing the trauma that way, with some support around you and people you can talk to. And then it becomes easier to move into sex with a partner as well, because you feel more grounded in yourself and you can communicate to them what you want, what you don't want, and all of that. So yeah, I hope that really helps. And if you've got any more ideas about how to bring blood and nutrients and awareness down to the yoni on a physical level, I'd love you to drop that in the comments. Always up for learning more, and I'm sure there's heaps of people in this group who would love any techniques for that as well, so feel free to share on that front. And just to let you know, if you didn't want to buy the whole Heal Period Pain and PMS with Yoga course, I'm actually selling just like a really short part of it. So I've got the seasonal practices for each phase of your menstrual cycle. So you've got your summer, winter, autumn and spring practices, and there's 2 for each phase. So you've got ones that are focused on mind and body, and ones that are focused on energy and spirit as well. So I'm selling those at a much lower price than the overall course. So if you're interested in that and just want some kind of practice to come back to regularly that's really focused on this hip opening and calming the parasympathetic nervous system, do reach out to me and I'd love to share that with you. And you can ask any questions you want as well. Okay, next week I'll be talking about how this manifests in the emotional and the mental body, and that's going to be really, really important to complement what we've talked about here on the physical body. So definitely tune in for that one as well. I'll be here at the same time next week. Thank you so much for joining. I can see Iris is there too. Thank you so much for watching. All right, sending you lots of love, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.